All right, guys, today we're going to be going over the Module 5 test review. It's only 9 questions. All right, number 1, graph the inequality. So this is an OR statement. So that means we're solving 2 separate inequalities. Just do one by one. Remember, when there's something directly outside the parentheses, you're just distributing. Do the little rainbow method. You're multiplying. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 3 is -6. Keep the sign. Bring down the 3. Remember, the goal is to get x by itself on this side. So I want to move this -2 and this -6 over to the other side. Start with the -6. You move something by doing the opposite operation. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. We're left with -2x is less than 6 plus 3 is 9. We're going to divide by -2. Because we divided by a negative, we flip the sign. We're left with x. And 9 divided by -2 is -4.5. It's okay to get decimals. So that's our first answer. Then we go do the same exact thing on the other side. Distribute the 2. We get 12x. 2 times 4 is 8. And this is going to be our greater than -16. Remember, if it looks like an L, it's less than. Just a little side note. All right, we're gonna opposite operation. We want to get this x by itself, so we're gonna subtract 8 from both sides. 8's are gone. You're left with your 12x is greater than -24. Remember, when you're adding and subtracting, same sign, keep the sign add. Divide by 12, divide by 12. Because this 12 is not a negative, we do not flip the sign. So x is greater than -2. Now we're going to graph it. Now you don't really have to have so many lines, but I'm just going to put them in just because. So I have -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. All right, first one, we're going to graph this one first. X is on the left side, so I can just follow the arrow. I know it's open circle over -4.5. Remember, open circle is greater than or less than. Closed circle is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So it's going to be open circle over -4.5, which is going to be right here. Open circle going to the right, going this way, because x is greater than -4.5. All of my greater than are to the right. And then we're going to go to the second one. X is greater than -2, open circle again, and we're going this way. Because it's overlapping, I don't even have to have this second circle here, because I already know that as long as it's less than or greater than -4.5, it's a possible solution. So you enter your overlapping interval. That's it for the first one. Okay, let's go to number 2. Write an inequality to match the graph. So we went over these. First step is we want to remember that we want it in y/mx plus b form. Now this could be some sort of sign, but we don't know what that sign is yet, so I'm just going to leave it like that. We always start with our y-intercept. Y-intercept in this case is, where does my graph touch the y-line? Right here. And that's at -1, 2. So I already know my b is my -2. Now I could also look at the graph and look at the line. Now I know it's a solid line. Solid line means it's going to be either one of these two. If it were dotted, it would be one of these. But because it's not dotted, we don't even have to look at those two options. All right, so we know it's going to have the little equal to on the bottom, and we're shaded above. So when you're above somebody, you're greater than. So we already have half of our problem done. Next thing we're going to look at is our y never changes and our x never changes. So that's easy too. Final thing we're looking at is our slope. our rise overrun. How do I get from this point to the next point? Remember, you read your graph from left to right. So you're going from here to your very next point, which looks to be about here or here. Either one of those works. So I'm going to travel from this one to this one. Up 1, 2. So I'm going up 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2. So my x is 2. And that's it. Y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 2. All right. Number 3. So in this case, we're just solving. Remember, we want our x's on this side, our numbers on this side. Always try to get your letter on the left side because it makes it easier to graph, but you don't have to. But all of your answer choices on your test will be with the letter on the left side. So try to do it like that. All right, first thing, I'm going to move this 2x over to the other side. Make sure I get all of my x's together. You could really move essentially anything you wanted, but I'm going to start with this 2x. Opposite of minus 2x is plus 2x. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Our 2x's are gone. Plus 18 plus 2 is 20x minus 50 is less than or equal to negative 10. All right, now let's move this negative 50 over to the other side because I want these x's by themselves. So I'm going to do plus 50 plus 50. Our 50s are gone. We're left with 20x is less than or equal to 40. Divide by 20, divide by 20. Because we're not dividing by a negative, it stays the same. So y is less than or equal to 2. And that's it. That's your solution. All right, this is the same as the last one. We have y's on both sides, so we want to make sure we get all of our y's together. So I want to get my y's to the left side because I like my letters on the left side. So I'm going to start by moving this negative 3y. Remove something using the opposite operation. 2y's plus 3y's is 5y minus 4. Sign stays the same. We're left with 5 on the other side. Move this 4 over to the other side. We're left with 5y is less than 9. Divide by 5. Now, it's okay to have fractions and decimals. In this case, I'm going to leave it as a fraction. Y is less than 9 over 5. And that's it for that one. Right. Next one, same thing. Essentially, we're just solving for x. Move over your 3 to the other side. You're left with negative 2x greater than or equal to 6. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Now remember, anytime you divide by a negative, our sign flips. So don't forget to flip your sign. It could cost you the question. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And now we graph it. So we're going to label our number line. Remember, you don't have to do so many. It'll be multiple choice on your test, so you don't even have to worry about that. Negative 3, negative 4, negative 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, and then from here, we have a closed circle on top of negative 3. And x is less than, because it looks like an L. Remember, if it looks like an L, it's less than, so all of our less than numbers are going this way. And there you go, that's it. All right, number 6, same type of question, just solving for x. So start by drawing your 2 lines. Now just remember, this is like having 2 equal signs. So whatever you do to the middle, you gotta do to both sides. So we want to get essentially x by itself. So let's start by moving this negative 8. Opposite of minus 8 is plus 8. We're going to plus 8 on both sides. Right, 4 plus 8 is 12. Our 8's are gone in the middle, so we're just left with 3x. Our signs stay the same because we haven't divided or multiplied by a negative. 16 plus 8 is 24. Now we got to get rid of the 3. Remember, when two things are right next to each other, it's multiplication. Opposite of multiplication is division, so let's divide all these sides by 3. Now we did not divide by a negative, so our signs stay the same. We're left with 4 is less than x, which should be less than 8. And there you go. That's it. Next one says, Alex works at a specialty chocolate shop that sells chocolate in small and large boxes. Large boxes contain 15 chocolates, while small boxes contain 6 chocolates. There are currently 400 chocolates in the chocolate shop. Write an inequality that represents the number of large and small boxes Alice can make, where X represents the number of large boxes, Y represents the number of small boxes. So there's 400 chocolates in the shop. So no matter what, we know that she can use 400 chocolates or less, because she can't have less than 400 chocolates. So whatever I get on the other side, however many boxes I'm making, has to be less than my 400 chocolates are equal to. I can use exactly 400 or less than 400, but nothing more than 400. Now, we know our large boxes represents X, so our large boxes has 15 chocolates. So I have no idea how many large boxes, but I know that every large box has 15 chocolates. So if I make one large box, it's going to be 15 times 1. It's 15. If I make 2 large boxes, it's going to be 15 times 2. If it's 2 large boxes, 30 chocolates. And so forth. Since I don't know how many boxes, I'm going to put an X there, because X is the variable that we're using to represent large boxes. Then I can also make small boxes, and small boxes have 6 chocolates each. Now, no matter what, I know each box is going to have 6. If I make one box, it'll be 6 times 1, 6. If I make 2 boxes, 6 times 2, 12. If I make 3 boxes, and so forth. I have no idea how many boxes, but I know Y represents the number of boxes. And the total between these two terms is going to be the number of chocolates I get. This is all going to give me the total of chocolates. Total chocolates I'm going to be using. Now, I know I can't use more than 400 chocolates. So that's going to be your equation. 15x plus 6y has to be less than or equal to 400, because whatever this total is, it cannot give me anything more than 400 chocolates. And you don't have to solve it, you just have to create the inequality. Alright, so number 8. It says a donut shop requires that Armani spends at least $6 if she wants to use a debit card for her purchase. Donuts cost 85 cents each. She wants to buy 1 bottle of orange juice, which costs $1.50. If X represents the number of donuts Armani would need to buy, which inequality would model the situation? So in order for Armani to use her debit card, she has to spend at least $6. That means anything above $6 is okay. So we know the total she's going to be spending is $6, and we know that it has to be, whatever the total cost is going to be, it has to be more than or equal to $6, because no matter what, she has to spend at least. So this is the lowest amount. Alligator has to eat whatever our total is, because 6 is not the most. Now, we know she's automatically buying 1 orange juice. She definitely wants her 1 orange juice. And that 1 orange juice is going to cost her $1.50. Now we want to find out the total she's going to be spending. So we're going to add that on to the donuts. We know each donut is 85 cents. But we have no idea how many donuts. So if she decides to buy 1 donut, it's just going to be 85 cents. If she buys 2 donuts, it's going to be 85 times 2. If she buys 3 donuts, it's going to be 85 times 3, which is 85 plus 85 plus 85 cents. So it's just, remember, addition is repeated multiplication. So that's why we're going to attach the X to it, because no matter how many donuts she buys, each one is going to be 85 cents. So you'll always have to times it by 0.85. And then whatever she spends here between her orange juice and her donuts has to be greater than or equal to the $6 she has to spend in order to use her debit card. And that is it. It's not asking you to solve it. It just wants you to create the inequality. Now, it doesn't matter if these numbers are switched around. This is an 8. Doesn't matter if these numbers are switched around, as long as your 85 cents is attached to the X, which is the number of donuts. And that's it for that one. All right, and then finally, it wants us to graph the inequality. So remember your 3 steps to graphing. First step, you want to make sure it's in Y, M, X, plus b form. And lucky here it is. Y is by itself. We have a number attached to the x. There's supposed to be an x there. That is my mistake. Should be an x here. The number is attached to the x, and we have the b at the end. So this step is done. Step 2, we're going to graph the y-intercept and slope. Now, our y-intercept is our b, which is -2. This is our y-intercept. So I'm going to start with that. Go to my graph. I'm going to go to -1, -1, 2. All right, so there's my first point. Then from there, go to my slope. My slope says they're both positive, so I'm going up 1, right 3. So from my y-intercept, remember we started our y-intercept, we're going to go up 1 over 1, 2, 3. There's my next point. Up 1 over 1, 2. All right, can't graph a third point. So step 2 is done. And then finally, step 3 is we are going to shade. So we're going to connect our dots. Now, because this line has an equal to sign under it, it's going to be a solid line. So when I connect my dots, it has to be a solid line. Be careful with that, because if you draw a dotted line, then it would be wrong. Let's make that a little bit straighter. All right, and now we're going to look at our shading. It says y is greater than or equal to our equation. So I know my line represents my equation. If my y's are greater than, I am above the line. So I'm going to shade everything above the line. And there you go. That's it. That is question number 9.